Hi, this is Mia. It is Monday morning and I am having a complete nervous breakdown. It's 7:19 a.m. and I need to go to the next state over because I signed up to do a job, and it's an hour drive, 2 hours of work, an hour job, or hour drive back. I have less than a week to get to find my $2,400 for my credit card, and I don't have any options. My SBA loan fell through. Um, Reproductive health next week. I gotta remember that. So I did get a email from SCORE. I've been trying to sign up for SCORE for years, and I finally got an email Monday morning. Um, there's one thing. I'm gonna start crying, guys. That my other counselor that I was trying to do EMDR to get through all this pain of um, my past, the PTSD issues from the people that abused me, and I, she's like, oh, the best thing for my office was that I found a mentor or whatever, and so I'm trying to tell myself, get a mentor, but I've been trying to do all this stuff. I'm seeing people getting hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars from the Small Business Association for their business. I've been keeping my doors open for, what is the 7th or 8th year. I got like $120 for PPP loan. That's the only time I paid myself, like 4 weeks of $25. And so everything, I got to get rid of my electronic health records, even though I'm using them. Everything is gonna, I'm gonna have to wipe the slate clean. There was a group, it wasn't just BIPOC or people of color, it was a black student professional group with some actually practicing practitioners, and it gave me a lot of inspiration. I get sick when I see these young women with the bright eyes and their smooth skin and their little kids going for their dream. And I used to be that woman, that young woman, and unfortunately I was a single mother. And then my dream turned into working at Pizza Hut as a cook and staying all night, 5 days a week, 5 or 6 days a week as a closing manager. And I remember the guys were living all a bunch of young adults in a house, a whole bunch of people working as managers and having to live up in a 1-bedroom apartment with a whole bunch of people because they couldn't afford the rent in Portland. And I was one of those people too. And that wasn't my only job. And enough is enough, guys. Even with those jobs as a cook and everything, the income goes down. It's like you think after 4, 5, 6 years after having a minimum wage, $12 an hour, that the income would go up a little bit. The price of living is like 3 or 4 times as expensive as it was 7 years ago. Anyways, I feel like starting my laundry because of the situation with our housing. I forgot to. I had one day off yesterday, and it was so stressful. Um, there's these people in this religious organization that um, the teachings for some of the longtime members, try to be really vague, are that you're not supposed to hold on to wealth, and that you're supposed to not be like wealthy. And these people worked and got money and invested it and got wealthy. And what's sad is that they're always talking about how big of a house and how nice of a house and how their family name is so important. It's so well documented historically. These are white Americans, and how all these towns and roads and lakes are named after them. And slaves, the Chinese or Irish, sharecropper, slaves, railroad, laundry people, did so much in this country. And don't get me wrong, everyone in my family but me owns a house. Everybody. And I'm the most educated and have on paper, the best way to make money, honest living, a lot of hard work, and it's turning me into the complete opposite, guys. My bank account's pretty empty. I'm going to look at it and make sure it's not absolutely empty because I got an outstanding check. Looks like the app updated. I don't like it. Yep, there ain't no penny in here. Shoot. So I got to close down my bank accounts just to keep a roof over everybody's head, and nobody's contributing. They're going to have to contribute. So I don't know if I posted you guys the other day when I had the another counseling appointment go wrong, and I spent the whole time crying because of what the counselor said. I'm supposed to be crying about being sexually assaulted and being abused and the racist treatment at school. Like, what's on my trauma timeline should be making me cry and work through it. But this person is piling more on top of, we don't need to keep repeating that my life sucks and that you would never want to live a life like mine and such poverty. Like, we've already determined does not take a genius, to understand that. My kids counselor came to my house, my apartment. I was in a homeless shelter, and we had to pay for it. Like 95% of your income had to go to the rent. There was no straight like $200 a month, $500. It's like you just had to prove your income, and they take your money, and you don't even have enough, barely get gas to go to work. So I had to take the freaking bus and try to take the, anyways. Back then when gas was still sometimes $1.99 a gallon in Oregon, but we had him say, "I don't envy you at all. Look at your life. I don't envy you at all." And I was like, what? This was a older white male, blue eyes and clean cut, and I felt like he could have whatever he wanted handed to him. I'm gonna do the assignment. I'm gonna put down a trash bag. I thought I had one out. I'm gonna throw down the trash bag, and I'm gonna do the what you call it, painting. I saw the stuff. I think it's either in the closet or next to the front door. It's not really a closet, but a nook for all the coats. Although I'm hogging the space, it's not fair to my boyfriend. I ought to make a little room in there because this closet's empty too. And the other one, the doors fell off. I don't understand how to put them back on. I have no hope. I had to tell myself Saturday before work to have maybe it was yesterday morning, to have the faith of a mustard seed. And these people I see in these groups that I attend are so well off. And I see these women of African descent on that group last night, and they're pretty young. I probably was definitely the oldest one, being 45. And I could see them doing what I do, like doing this, being called, precepting and birth, and going and moving. And I saw like these, like, not necessarily instability, But your life as a black person in this country and in this world is rough. And if you don't think it's rough, good for you. My relatives don't see the same issues that I do because they stay in the black community. So there's not uphill or um, going against the grain or going upstream from society. All of that is, how do you say it? Just taking it day by day. So we're gonna just taking it day by day, year by year, decade by decade, generation by generation, in the same neighborhood. You know, some of these people, they don't like their neighbors. They don't go outside. One of them was the only black family in a whole white neighborhood in a suburb of um, D.C. in Maryland, and the neighbor moved in. This is what you look this up, the terminology. I forget what it is when the realtor brings in a second black person, like, oh, you know, move right, like put him right next to the first black family that had been there for decades. Second guy comes in, black guy, didn't cut his grass, there were snakes coming out of the grass. And the next thing I knew, a few years ago, white flight happened. And all blacks came into this neighborhood. And my aunt said, I'm not going outside. I don't like my neighbors. I said, that's rude. You need to walk. Like, you live here. We need to exercise. She's like, but I had to realize there's something might happen that she's really like, oh, it's not worth going out and walking up and down the street. There was a big old pool party. So people would say, oh, y'all, that there goes the neighborhood, you know. But it's oppression and systemic racism that makes life hard, and the people that are doing the traditional um, black activities, a certain type of dress, a certain type of hair, a certain type of nails, a certain type of foods. I mean, even get criticized for being a raw foodist and not eating collard greens with ham hocks and all that stuff, or cooked. Probably eat collard, but it'd be in a raw wrap with some kind of fake, I don't know what, insides, vegetables mixed with nuts, I don't know. So, like, you're like, this is expensive and it's kind of nasty, but I'm going to eat it. So you get this opposition when you don't fit in with whites, non-whites, or blacks. You get this hatred when you don't conform. You can never conform with a white person when you're black because you're never going to have that skin color. And people get their hair done and certain stuff, and the white people say, oh, yeah, I bring in white, you know, or sorry, blacks to work with me and to be my office assistant and give them a chance, you know. But then it becomes, to me, that white savior. Um, they're saying, hey, look what I done. Hey, look what I did. Pat me on the back, you know. These poor people are suffering and I'm the savior. And it might be a savior. It might get somebody able to get the credentials. But I don't necessarily, you have 5 people for a job and you choose the best candidate. In a lot of situations, the reasons why there's problems, say I'm the best candidate for the job and the credentials would say I would make $80,000 a year, but they decide not to hire me, the best candidate, and they hire someone else that doesn't have any credentials, and they hire them for $95,000 a year, and I end up getting $11,000 a year, which is kind of what really happens. You're like, well, we'll give you this other crappy job where you don't use your education or experience or skills or even speaking Spanish. Like, people are making signs and the grammar's all funky, and I'm like, I don't even know, but I'm looking at it like there's a lot of things I'm learning in my Spanish. And even when I talked to my coworker who was from Mexico, the stuff that I was learning, Duolingo and stuff, he's like, no, don't, you can't pay attention. That's all funky. Like, I'm not trying to diss him, but what I was like, do I say this, blah, 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 and he's like, no, you need to say this, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to write it down, you go home and practice, and you greet these people a certain way, and you say, sir, and you know, you say things not so, what's the word, like when you're with your buddies or whatever, when you're customers and all this different things, like, oh shoot, I didn't think about that. It's like the Swedish humor, and they say, oh, the subtitles in Sweden, you don't know that it's funny when it translates to English, but if you know Swedish, then you, oh, I get the humor, but sometimes local humor. So I try to be very global and very, I felt like, the word pancake just came into mind. I don't know why. Maybe spread yourself too thin. I try to like reach out and be a part of a vibrant, vivid, vivo life. Like, I live to live for others, and I am having a complete nervous breakdown. We're going to go look at 2 things, and then I'm going to go start my laundry. The counseling for, I keep looking at this royal jelly stuff, and I'm like, why don't I have a spoon in here? Because that's what I've been craving that for like 2 weeks, and I never used to always have a spoon sitting there. I should go get my spoon, guys. Let's do it. It's pretty warm today. Having a counseling appointment at 11. I confirmed it twice already on Friday, and they sent me another confirmation yesterday. I did not, or Saturday. I didn't even respond. I don't care. But I'm having a really hard time. Today's price for this flight, $325. Lowest price was $161. So that sucks. God, that sucks. God help me. I don't have money to travel back home, and I have to. Like, before I go get that spoon, guys, what if you had, let's say, which I don't have this, but let's just say you had like $1,000 in cash, and to say you had some gold coins and some jewelry, and you had to travel in the next 2 months, and you're not knowing the state of the world, you're not knowing if something weird's going to happen, the airplanes are going to be down, and you're going to be stuck where you are. Would you take your stuff with you and travel? Would you leave it in a vacant apartment that nobody's house sitting in? Potentially someone could break in and ransack. Like, what would you do? You know, would you? Because every time you take your purse and everything with you to the airport, you stick it in that thing, you might never see it again for whatever reason, whether they confiscated it or like your passports, your IDs. Like, it sucks. I wish you could at least take your carry-on bag through the x-ray with you, your first carry-on. I've had stuff checked because I was the poor seat and I had to have this crap checked, and I'm like, I got my medical equipment, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you got jewelry, you have, you know, stamps or old antique books that you're, you know, and it sucks because, I mean, what if somebody was visiting someone in Ukraine? Like, say they lived in Ukraine, or they didn't live in Ukraine, they left their house, and they say, oh, I'm going to visit such and such for a week, I'm bring some swimsuit, you know, I'm going to bring some pajamas, I'm going to bring my wallet and my IDs, but then all of a sudden you can't go back home, or you don't know if your home's being bombed, or you got to flee altogether, and even the stuff you brought and bought, food and stuff for the kids to keep them entertained, you might have to flee overnight, or not overnight, but, well, technically overnight, like, I meant to say, like, right now, you might have to like, this is your opportunity to get out now. I gotta look up this app for this job. I don't even think I have an app. Oh yeah, I do. Here it is. So let's just look at this. Just sent like 1,000 emails sent. 7 new visits, 1 new visit, 3 new visits. I'm just like, what in the bloody heck? So I'm just gonna go to this place and I'm gonna write down the address and just go there. And there's some notes. I don't know what that's for. There's a map. Yeah, it's way the F away from here. And I selected this before the gas prices went up. There's a bunch of worksheets. It wants to see my freaking pictures. So I'm gonna they said they weren't gonna pay for the this assignment pays by the hour, accepting that you understand that you would pay the hourly rate. So this does not, guys, this does not do admin time. So I'm not prepping like my other job was given admin time and then they reduced it. I was doing like 45 minutes and my friend kept saying, you can't lie, you need to be honest. And this person had a hard time reading. Like, I was honest, like, I would spend like 25 minutes reading all the notes before the job the next day. I'd print them on colored paper. I'd like highlight areas, staple it together, and get that all ready. And then check in your emails with your boss, phone calls, any schedule stuff, typing stuff that you put in the system. I mean, that's at least 25 minutes. And then you'd have to come home and I'd have to move the pictures I took from my phone to my computer and then write a report. Sometimes it erased it and I had to rewrite it and upload it, and like I'd have to email it to myself, open it up, save it, do this. And I type like, this customer said that this tasted really good. This other customer said they had an allergy, but they wanted to give it to their partner. And this person said their kids really liked it. Oh my gosh, I want to buy 10 packages. I would write all these details and I type really fast. And my friend tried to accuse me of lying. I was like, I spent every minute. And then they said you could only do 30 minutes of admin time. And then they took away that and said you had to do it, shut down your event early and type in the notes while you're out the phone. Guys, I'm gonna look up this wax jeans vest that was brand new. See how much that I could have got if I sold it. Boyfriend's coming back in. I got a spotted banana. I got my spoon for my this stuff, and my bowels are bleeding heavily, and my gums are swollen and bleeding heavily, and this is the truth with trying to work myself to the bone, and I'm not doing a good enough job, so I'll keep you posted.